We'll quickly run through some of the passages we did last time. Actually, what we have done so far are the following topics. We have seen the surface person, then the subconscious gate through which Savitri is pushing, then the bodily mind, then the world of sense, then the world of vital Godhead, and now we are going to see the giant head of life. Now, in the subconscious domains, there are great powers, dangerous powers, perilous powers, and it needs tremendous courage to face them and yet move inward and inward. They are there as if to test you that you are really capable of entering into the inner domain, go closer to your soul. They are as if guarding the sanctum sanctorum against the intruders, casual people who like to go there to see as if there is something interesting within. Those who are absolutely serious, those who want to really know the soul, it is for them they have to undergo, so to say, this kind of a test. It is not really a test in the sense that this is what we are made of. Our outer personality, born of inconscience, has all these elements present in it, and we have to face them when we want to go and meet our soul. We cannot dismiss the personality of which we are made. The subconscious forces, elements which are there, they have to be met and they have to be conquered also. Then only we can really enter in. So we have to face them. And the safest way to face these dangerous powers, these elemental entities, as they are called, is by fixing your consciousness, your attention on the Savior name. On the Savior name. This is what we saw last time. There is a power in the name. In fact, there is a power in every name. Just keep on chanting mark, 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 mark. See, a kind of a vibration develops, a kind of a sound protection grows around it. Grows around it. Every name has that thing. It is a power. In fact, you can utter any name. Tennyson. It provides you a kind of an atmosphere around you to protect against all the evil forces. If it is a greater name, Vishnu, it has a more cosmic dimension. And it can even take care of the cosmic forces. It is true also, that's why it's called Savior. It is true even in case of Christ. If you say that, it has the power of protection through love, and it protects you. Now, when you say Savior name, that name has also a quality. What kind of name it is? Each person has his own personality, his own quality, his own swabhava, character. and it is that which comes out in prominence and protects you. Protects you, see. So when you say Christ, it is the power of love which comes out. When you say Krishna, 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 it is the power of Ananda, of joy which comes around you. When you say Mother, 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 it is the power of the sweetness and beauty and love of the Divine herself, you see. It is that which comes out when you say Sri Aurobindo, Sri Aurobindo, Sri Aurobindo. It is the power of yogic Agni, full of knowledge, which surrounds you and gives you the protection of that kind of thing. So it is, although it is a name, that name is also associated with a certain quality. So when Shakespeare says that call any rose by any name, I mean that is all right. Poetically he is making a kind of a dramatic point, but you cannot call any rose by any name, you see. You can't call a rose, for instance, a cat or a dog. You see, I mean rose is a rose, you see, after all. And you have the fivefold aspects of the rose of God, rose of bliss, rose of light, rose of power, rose of life, rose of love. These are the fivefold aspects of love which are shown, indicated in Sri Aurobindo's poem, Rose of God, you see. What he calls the five divine intensities. He calls them divine intensities. So each rose, rose of love, rose of life, rose of joy, rose of power, whatever it is, rose, is that particular intensity of the divine which is expressed, and it is that which comes around you and protects you. So, I don't know, here in the case of Savitri, when she says, fixed her thought upon the Savior name, what name she was uttering or remembering, that we don't know. Certainly, it must be name of the divine goddess. It could be the name of Durga, who is the real protectress against all the occult forces. So she must be kind of remembering them directly when she is entering into those regions. And what is the power of that rose or that name? Suddenly a large deliverance came, a vast calm deliverance. She is free now of everything, and of course calm. And therefore now she can move in the light of an invisible sun. Naked light from an invisible sun. The sun is not seen, but his light is there, bare, intense, powerful. Divya Agni, Divya Teja, Divya Prakash, they are there, you see. A blissful vacuum of nameless peace. So that is the power of faith. And we are seeing also when Ashwapati was entering into the depths of night, descent into night, it was the name which protected him against all those forces, you see. So there is a power in that name, you see. So even Ashwapati as the incarnate is leaning upon the power of name to protect himself against the dark forces, against the hostile forces, you see. He is himself the one who gives protection, but he is seeking protection as the incarnate here. But now, now a mightier danger drew near. Savitri has crossed one region of danger, now a greater danger of what I was saying. The giant head of life is going to stare at her and show her power to Savitri. Yes, Savitri, you can't easily cross through this region. You have to show your strength if you want to cross this one, a mightier danger. Otherwise, the danger is she can get swallowed up also, you see. And the danger is coming because of the bodily mind, the physical mind. That is the crucial thing. bodily mind, who is the brute, who is born of inconscience. Actually, the mother says that when the mind was not there, inconscience was very manageable, was fluid, could be managed, you see, in the absence of. But when mind came, then it became rigid. It acquired a kind of a firmness, rigidity, form. The moment you give form, it means that you like to stick to that form. A sort of rigidity comes to that thing. So the first thing which comes out with the mind is that form, and that was necessary for inconscience to give a certain definite shape. When that shape comes, then things can move forward from that point onward. Therefore, it is this body and mind, what we are calling in other languages, in other terms, is the physical mind dominated by the mind of night. That is the bodily mind, and it is that which gives inconscience its firmness, rigidity. It refuses to change, refuses to get transformed. And therefore, Sri Aurobindo's entire thrust was to tackle this bodily mind, make it more and more open to the supramental light and force. Bring to the bodily mind the supramental light. And when the bodily mind, the physical's mind opens to the supramental light, then that you call as a mind of light. And when that mind of light is there, then it can kind of shape, it can handle inconscience in a divine way, in a proper way, you see. So that is the first step, you see. So Savitri is now seeing that dimension of difficulty in the inconscience while she is entering in, you see. And of aimless thought and will had fallen from her, approaching loomed a giant head of life. This is what we are seeing now. So she is now seeing a huge aspect of life itself. It tossed all power into a single drive. It made its power a might of dangerous seas. Into the stillness of her silent self. So she is silent because of the name. In that stillness of her silent self, into the whiteness of its muse of speed, a torrent of the speed of life broke like a wind-lashed driven mob of waves racing on a pale floor of summer sand. It drowned its bank, a mountain of climbing waves. So the giant head of life, her waves are mounting one above the other and dashing against the approach of Savitri. Enormous was this vast and passionate voice. It cried to her listening spirit as it ran, the giant head, as it ran, demanding God's submission to chainless force. Now it is that kind of force of life, giant head, is demanding. Yes, God must submit himself to her, must obey her. She is now all powerful in inconscience, and even the divine must come and obey her here. That is what she is demanding. Enormous was his vast and passionate voice, demanding God's submission to chainless force. A deaf force calling to a status dumb. 1,000 voices in a muted vast, it claimed the heart's support for its clutch of joy, for its need to act, the witness soul's consent, for its lust of power, her neutral being the seal. Now, from a certain point of view, from a poetic point of view, if you see some of these things, it tossed all power into a single drive. And again in the next line, it made its power. Now, normally such quick repetitions of the same word in poetry is taken as a flop. Same word appearing practically immediately after the other one. Same thing we have here also. Of course, this power is a little far away, but still is there. What was I saying here? Yeah. You have got force here, and immediately after that you have got another force here. You have got chainless force here and deaf force here. They are different forces, but poetically the repetition of the same word, practically one after the other, is taken as a defect in poetry, as a flaw, you see. But Sri Aurobindo says that you have to see whether in each line that word is appropriate or not. Is an apt word. Is it a more just, the proper word or not? And it is that which you have to value. Other considerations are sort of mental considerations. Whether this word is appropriate here or not, whether this word is appropriate or not, is it more just here or not, is it more just here or not? This is what you have to see. And he says that I will go by that. Still, possibly, had Sri Aurobindo enough time, had he spent more time on these dictated compositions. These are all dictated passages, Savitri. So in the dictated passages, you do not immediately detect the repetition of the same word. So had he sort of focused his attention more and more after the composition, possibly he could have changed this. Possibly he could have added between this and this a few more lines to bring a kind of a separation between this force and that force, so that it becomes appropriate, poetically, technically, you see, in that sense. He could have, we can't say that. But I will say at the moment, the defense is that word appropriate at that place or not? Is it the perfect word? The word alone. You cannot replace, say, chainless force, deaf force. You can't say chainless might, chainless strength. See, they are not there. It has to be force. Force, the equivalent, the synonyms of force, might, strength, power. I mean, they wouldn't do. You have to have their word force only, Shakti. You can't change that, you see. So that is the module. So possibly to avoid this thing, what he could have done is added few more lines to bring a kind of a separation between the two sentences, two lines, you see. The same thing is here also. Power, you see. See, now here again, you can't change. It tossed all force into a single drive. It made its power a might. It doesn't do. You have to have power only there. You see. You can't interchange this power to its force, swap this with that, and then this all these things. You can't, you see. Enormous was passionate, chainless force. So she is like that. She cannot be bound to any rule, any law, any ethics, any principle. She is free. She will do whatever she wants. That is life. You see? That is the character of life. 1,000 voices in a muted vast, it claimed the heart's support for its clutch of joy, group of joy, clutch of joy, for its need to act, the witness shows consent for its lust of power and neutral being sealed. A trenchant blade that shore the nets of doubt. So that is what cut the doubt also, see. Powerful. It showed a discernment, seemed almost divine because that power, discernment, dakshina, as we are seeing. This is the next quality about the reasoning mind. Dakshina, inspiration, intuition, revelation, in that category. See. The four divine goddesses, Dakshina, starts with that. It showed a discernment, seemed almost divine, yet all that knowledge was a borrowed sun. It was not the knowledge coming from the high source, from supermind. It is minds, because it describes mind's quick, patient thoughts. This is still the mental part of it. Therefore, it is borrowed. Yet all that knowledge was a borrowed sun. The form that came were not heaven's native births. The form that came were not heaven's native births. Now, this is a very peculiar sentence, you see. What it means that forms and births are the same. The form that came were not heaven's native births, means they were not really born of heaven. Effusions, dangerous and absolute, could mingle poison with the wine of God. Actually, this is what happens in the case of mind. It is the life force which makes mind take this stand or that stand. Mind by itself cannot take its own stand. See, very often we say, I'm in two minds. We often say, in two minds. And I'm not able to really decide this or that. What decides? It is the life force. Mind cannot decide at all. You say, I should do this, I should do that. You can keep on arguing all the while. You cannot decide at all. It is the life force will decide. Yet that knowledge was a borrowed sun. The form that came were not heaven's native birth. Effusions, dangerous and absolute, could mingle poison with the wine of God. It doesn't have that heavenly quality. It is after all meant. So when it gets mixed up with life force, then it is mixing up God's wine with poison. You start arguing crookedly. This is what you do. See, when the life takes possession of your thought, then you start arguing in a very crooked, in a very evil, in a negative manner also, you see. And that is how you mingle poison with wine. On these high shining backs, falsehood could ride. Yes, this is what happens. You see, once the life force takes possession of you, then you start arguing in favor of that life force. You start arguing with that person. Falsehood could ride. Truth lay with delight in error's passionate arms. You justify error. You start justifying error also. You start justifying court judgments. You know, court judgments are colored by individuals. They are not always true to the spirit of the things which is supposed to be there behind it. They get colored. Truth laid with delight in error's passionate arm, gliding downstream in a blithe gilded barge, she etched her ray with a magnificent light. Here in life's nether realms, all contraries meet. So everything is there. Falsehood and truth is given. Delight in error, passionate arm. They come and mix. Here in life's nether realm, all contraries mean. Truth stares and does her work with bandaged eyes. So, and ignorance is wisdom's patron here. So you start justifying ignorance. This keeps on happening all the while. And therefore, you land into a greater danger. You justify your evil acts. You justify why I am doing, why I am not doing that, everything. This is what is happening all around here in our dear ashram. We keep on justifying wisdom with ignorance all the while. Pattern here. Here in life's nether realm, all contraries meet. Truth stares and does her works with bandaged eye. What a beautiful simile. Yeah. And ignorance, wisdom's patron here. Those galloping hoofs in their enthusiast speed could bear to a dangerous intermediate zone where death walks wearing a robe of deathless life. What a powerful sentence this one is. Very, very powerful, poetically, very powerful. Those galloping hoofs in their enthusiast speed could bear to a dangerous intermediate zone where death walks wearing a robe of deathless life. So death is walking with a robe of deathless life. You land into that kind of a dangerous zone. Now, poetically, this is a very powerful sentence. As I said. Let us scan this thing. Those galloping hoofs, those gal. This is one foot. First foot. Open hooves, second. In there. Third foot. Means first is those galloping. First is I am. Second foot is a anapist. Short, long. Galloping hooves. Short, long. Second foot. The third foot is a pyrrhic. Short. The fourth foot, enthu. There is an I am. Short, long. Enthu, zest, speed. That is again short, long, anapist. So you have got here basically one I am, anapist, pyrrhic, another I am, and anapist. See, the speed comes with that. See, the speed comes with that. The galloping is there because there is anapistic movement, fast moving forward. And when you are jumping from one to the other one, there is a small pause in there. A little pause. And then you jump up again, you see. That is the galloping. Those galloping hoofs in their enthusiast speed could bear one foot to a dangerous second foot, dangerous third foot, intermediate zone. Again, so you have got a lot of ams and anapists moving forward, short, long, going like that, in a galloping speed, you see, where death walks wearing, you see again, where death and I am walks wearing, this is spondy. Both are strong, dark death, walks death wearing a robe, anapist of deathless I am, of deathless life, again an I am. So, see, you can see the movement is again basically short, long. The galloping is there. So the poetry matches with the inspiration also, see. and the thought content, they get completely fused into each other. The technique, poetic technique, is determined by the force of inspiration with which these lines come. It is the inspiration which is dictating the meter. Those galloping hoofs in their enthusiast speed could bear to a dangerous intermediate zone where death walks wearing a robe of deathless life, or they enter in the the valley of the wandering gleam, whence captives or victims in the specious ray, souls trapped in that region never can escape. So that is the danger. That is the giant head of life you are seeing. So actually, this is the most dangerous kind of thing. Wandering gleam, you get trapped in the valley and remain there permanently. There is no escape at all. There is no escape at all. Or they enter the valley. Once you enter into that, nobody can pull you out. You are trapped. Unless there is an act of supreme grace from somewhere. Nobody can. Or they enter the valley of the wandering gleam, whence captives or victims of the specious ray, souls trapped in that region never can escape. So this is the danger of the giant head of life. Is possible here. Dangerous intermediate zone. See, Sri Aurobindo has described this thing in great detail in the Life Divine. He talks of these, both the phrases are there present in Life Divine. Valley of the wandering gleam and dangerous intermediate zone. These phrases are present as they are in the Life Divine. And while in the Life Divine, when you read those particular passages, see this phrase, dangerous intermediate zone, there is practically nothing poetic in it. It is a prose statement. It is a prose statement. But the moment it is coming here, it acquires a sudden different kind of a poetic quality. It is no more prosaic. It has a kind of a thrust, a kind of power, sort of a rhythm also which pushes it forward. Because of could bear to a dangerous intermediate zone. You see, that is how you will read, not in Life Divine. See, you don't read like that. Life Divine. See. Where death walks wearing a robe of deathless life. What a powerful sentence this one is saying. I have sent you this passage, dangerous intermediate zone.
It is basically you go there without body.
No, it is it is the spirit which is experiencing.
Yes.
Yeah. In the inner countries, this is what we are saying. Savitri has come into the wideness of her watching self, which brought a grandiose gust of the breath of life. This is what we are seeing just now. Into earth life, it poured tangled charm and primitive joy, and a fire in the mystery of forbidden delight, and a honey-sweet poison wine of lust and death. This is a giant head of life, and felt a celestial rapture's golden sting. There was the surge of opposite powers, faith in heaven and intercourse with hell. These powers give ambrosious taste and poison sting. They could imitate mind's plain foot gallop. This is what we have seen. Plain gallop. Those galloping hoofs in their enthusiast speed could bear through the dangerous intermediate zone. They could enter the valley of the wandering gleam. This is what mind can lead you to. You see. Here they were agents and not masters of life's desires. See, they are not really, life desires are not under their control. So they get driven by life desire and then they get drifted into the dangerous zone. See, if mind lends itself to life, life can push you into that zone. Their bodies born out of some nihil's womb can ensnare the spirit and then perish vomiting immortal soul. Yet uncaught, unslain, some carrying truth's image could verily pass and reach a greater life. Some can still see uncaught, either uncaught. How? You have to really have something in you. If there is a psychic perception, psychic is forward, then you are absolutely safe. All this train past Savitri, but then smiled a beauty's world, and the world's heart smiled and laughed the joy of life, because there was something in Savitri which can open out to that, you see. Out of the vastness of the silent self, life's clamor fled, and Savitri remained mute and free. Now Sri Aurobindo used you some explanation. In a certain sense, it is an awakening of the psyche. See, when you are entering the dangerous intermediate zone, it means you are really coming closer to your psychic being. Until then, you are not aware of it. You are so much on the surface, you didn't know the powers which are there lying within you. Great power, dangerous powers, high powers also. You are not aware of it. But when you are coming closer to that, then you start becoming aware. When you leave the surface consciousness and enter into the inner part of your being, then you see all these possibilities. It means that you are really coming to the psyche, awakening the psyche. The inner soul, now hidden, clogged wholly or partially, covered up by the superficial activity of the physical mind and senses that brings to the surface the submerged or subliminal inner vital consciousness, and also an inner or subliminal mental consciousness. See, there is subconscient mind, there is subconscient life, there is also the subliminal consciousness, subliminal higher of a greater quality, nobler quality. It is the subliminal which really gives you value to your life and existence. It is that which forms your being. Subliminal mental consciousness and sense capable of perceiving experience directly. There are, however, two different kinds of action, these inner ranges of the consciousness. The first is a more outer and confused activity of the awakening subliminal mind and life, which is clogged with and subject to the grosser desires and illusions of the mind and vital being. So our desires and our ambition, they cloud that thing, you see. In spite of his wider range of experience and powers and capacities, by an enormous mass of error and deformations of the will and knowledge. So our will and knowledge can themselves get affected by that, full of false suggestions and images, false and distorted intuitions and inspirations and impulses, the latter often even depraved and perverse. See, it can lead you to that condition of depression and perversion, and vitiated too by the interference of the physical mind. So, physical mind, the inner vital, the inner mental, they get affected by these ambitions, by these desires, by our weaknesses of nature, and they can overpower you. See. The seeker of spiritual perfection, in other words, there is a question of purification of this thing. We have to purify these things. We can't help them. Therefore, the seeker of spiritual perfection has to pass as quickly as possible, if he cannot altogether avoid. Now, normally, it cannot be avoided. They are there in us, because we are made of all that. We can't disown them. They are there. We have to encounter them, that's all. Avoid. This zone of danger and the safe rule here is to be attached to none of these things, non-attachment. That is the only safety there. But to make spiritual progress one's sole real objective, and to put no sure confidence in other things until the mind and life, soul are purified, and the light of the spirit and supermind, or at least of the spiritually illumined mind and soul, are shed on these inner ranges of experience. So you have to accept them. But if there is some kind of a perception of higher thing, then you work upon that and use that to purify your own being. Then only you can sort of save yourself. Yes.
Is this zone, intermediate zone, dangerous zone, part of the subliminal?
Part of the subliminal. Well, between the subliminal and subconscious. Yeah. Actually, yeah. It's not part of subliminal, no. Is there? Yes, everything, everybody is there. We are, see, the moment you get possessed by some idea and notion in a wrong way, life will drag you down, and you have no escape. You are led by the force of that life always then, but that if that perception is not there, nobody can save you. It's there. See, it happens everywhere. I want to commit, I want to have this thing, and then you start arguing, you start organizing yourself in every way to gain that particular thing, without knowing that it could be evil. I want to become rich, that is the possession in you. So you will go to any extreme, kill, murder, loot, robbery, whatever you want to see. And you start organizing or everything along that line, you see. It is there. To purify that is the most difficult part of it, you see. There are worse dangers in this intermediate zone of experience. Shivantu writes in a letter. This intermediate zone is a region of half-truths. But the half-truth here is often so partial or else ambiguous in its application that it leaves a wide field for confusion, delusion, error. And once you are caught in that, you get more and more trapped. More and more. Then you start wandering in the gleam, in the value of wandering gleam. You get trapped in that. But that is your light. You see. One can then pass quickly beyond into a clearer light where if there is still much mixture, incertitude and struggle, yet the orientation is toward the cosmic truth and not to a half-illumined prolongation of Maya. The intermediate zone is a zone of formations. It's a mixed zone of formations. Mental, vital, subtle, physical. Subtle. And whatever one forms or is formed by the forces of this world in us. It is certainly better if the psychic is conscious. In fact, that is the most surest kind of a thing. If you have got psychic perception, if you lean upon that, then you are safe. All these experiences belong to what I call the intermediate zone. Somebody was describing his experiences and Shivantu was replying to him. A large portion of them are of the vital plane. In the vital plane, there are all kinds of things, good and bad. This is what we are saying, the giant head of life, good and bad, helpful and dangerous. Now, this is from not exactly the same thing, but this is important. Slow or despond. You become depressed. You become worried. You are not able to move forward. You are longing for something, but not getting it. And you are helpless. You become despondent. Despair is there. You are seized by disappointment, so to say. That is the slough of despond. This is from Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. What does it say? It is described in the text. He describes this miry slough is such a place as cannot be mended. You are there in us. Purification of that thing is a very difficult, long process. It is this descent whither this calm and fill that attains conviction for sin that continually run. That is a pond of despair. That he calls it, swamp of despair. Still, as a sinner is awakened about his lost condition, He is talking in terms of Christian theology, therefore the sinner. When he is talked of the last condition, there ariseth in his soul many fears and doubts and discouraging apprehensions. Will this happen? Will I get swallowed? Will that happen? All kind of things keep on happening, which all of them get together and settle in this slough or despond. That all fears, all apprehensions. And this is the reason of the badness of this ground, the dangerous intermediate zone. Depression, a mental state characterized by a pessimistic sense of inadequacy and a despondent lack of activity. You are helpless, you don't know what to do in that condition. You are aspiring, but you are helpless. Now, this is a passage from his Pilgrim's Progress. This Christian, the pilgrim, is moving forward and he has fallen into the state of despondency, of despair, wherefrom Christian was left to tumble in the slough of despond alone. But still he endeavored to struggle to that side of the slough that was still further from his own house. He wanted to get up from that. He has fallen into that mire. And next to the wicket gate, the which he did, but could not get out because of the burden that was upon his back. He has fallen there, he is trying to get up, but he is carrying on his back a big bag of sin, of evil, and that he cannot disburden, and therefore he is not able to get up with her. Burden that was upon his back. But I beheld in my dream, there is something, there is some perception that a man came to him. Somebody came to see him, whose name was Help. The man who came to help him, his name was Help, and asked him what he did there. And Christian, he replied, "Sir," said Christian, "I was directed to go this way by a man called Evangelist, the guide of this Christian, who directed me also to yonder gate." Yes, the city of God is beyond that. You go like this, you will go to the city of God. Who directed me also to yonder gate, that I might escape the wrath to come. And as I was going thither, I fell in here, in this slough of despond. Then this man, "Help, help. But why did you not look for steps?" There are steps, why didn't you look for them? He said, Christian said, "Fear followed me so hard that I fled the next way and fell." I was helpless, you see. So that is how you fall in the dangerous intermediate zone. This is the man, Christian, fallen in this slough of despond. And here comes the Savior, the Evangelist, the Help. Here comes Help. You can see that, no? That man with beard, tall. He comes to help and pull him out, you see. So you have to have somebody to help you, to bring you out of that state of depression. Very beautiful picture also, very. So that is how you land into the dangerous intermediate zone, you see. So the only saving feature for you, it is there with everybody. The basic sincerity.
Is it also when we leave the body, then we have to enter through zone?
You cannot but go through that. You cannot but go through that.
Yeah, but there is, that's why many people, or most people, are afraid of death because they land in there.
Yes, and then they get trapped.
They get trapped, yes. But Mother has, before she came to Pondicherry, she has made a bridge over that zone, isn't it?
No, bridge, there is no bridge there.
Yes.
Well, see, indication of the mother, yeah, but then see, what does that mean? What is that bridge?
It means you can pass over
What is that? What is that bridge?
Well, you are guided by divine light.
You have to cross to that. You can't help it. It is there within you. The only basic thing is, if you have psychic perception, if your psychic is sufficiently open, sufficiently out, it can always protect you against all those things. You see. Or else there should be some kind of a spiritual consciousness in you, which can invoke the higher power, the divine power, the protecting power, God, name, whatever you want to call it, Durga, whomsoever you call it. You call him to help you in that condition. If you are some spiritual opening, you invoke that power, that goddess or deity or whomsoever you call it. And it is she or he who will help you. Help will come in that way. But for an individual, the most fundamental thing is you have to have basic sincerity, absolute sincerity. What you are here for, if you are sincere to that, then automatically taken is care of against all these possibilities. Basic sin. And of course, the sincerity is born out of your contact with the psychic being. The true, pure sincerity comes when it is in touch with the psychic being. That is important. So your mind doesn't bother about other things. I want this, therefore I will do it. No. It is for a certain aim, objective. I am a seeker of truth. And therefore, once you are holding to that as the seeking of truth, as your central objective, and if you are sincere to that, you will be led properly. Otherwise, mind will lead you, okay, do this, do that. You will get fame, you will get money, you will get this, you will get that, rewards, awards, etc. The moment you start drifting, gone. Your objective, your mind is seeking truth. But if you want to capitalize on that truth to get fame or money or recognition and things like that, then gone. Then you are not sincere to your truth. A scientist, he wants to learn the truth of things in matter. He has to be sincere to that. If he is that, then he will find the truth. But if he wants his pursuit to lead him to get a Nobel Prize, then you are not really sincere to science. Some other thing is entering in your personality, and that will drag you, push you out from that. You see, one has to be really very sincere to that. You see, I want to become a big speaker, and therefore let me read Savitri. See, gone. You are not then really doing Savitri. Then really you are not doing Savitri. To understand the truth, to enter into its domain, into its realm, if that is the constant urge in you, Savitri will lead you. But if you want to read Savitri, to write books, to become narrator, to do dance, drama, etc., etc., you could be misled, though you are doing Savitri. So it is not a fault of Savitri then, it is your fault, because you want to utilize Savitri for some other purpose. You come here to the ashram to do spiritual progress. But if you want to write the biography of Sri Aurobindo to get fame and recognition, then you are not really sincere to yourself. You are not. Basically, to really understand the truth of things, it is for that purpose you have come, but you got lost. So you get trapped in the valley of the wandering gleam. You get trapped. There is no escape for that. For that, the basic sincerity is required. I have come here for this purpose, so let me pursue that thing without getting diverted this way or that way, you see. That is the important thing. That is the only way. Where death walks wearing the robe of deathless life, we will not be able to recognize that what you are seeing is not deathless life, but you are seeing death. We will not be able to recognize that thing. That perception is lost completely. Or they enter the valley of the wandering gleam, whence captives are victims to the specious race. Specious, false, deceptive. Souls trapped in that region never can escape. So it's a very, very great statement. Never. That help will come, but you cannot free yourself. Because you are lost in the band. It is this valley of wandering clay, in that sense, is more dangerous than that slough of despond. In the slough of despond, somebody can come and help you and pull you up. But in the valley of wandering clay, no. Souls trapped in that region never can escape. Never. Into the wideness of her watching self, it brought a grandiose gust of breath of life. That is the thing that giant head of life is doing. She can bring that breath of life to things here, make them really living, vibrant, moving. Its torrent carried the world's hopes and fears, all lives, all natures, dissatisfied, hungry cry, and a longing all eternity cannot fill. It called to the mountain secrecy, the soul, and the miracle of the never-dying fire. It spoke to some first inexpressible ecstasy hidden in the creative beat of life. So the loftiness of things and life, the nobility, the majesty, the purple grandeur of life, yes, she is demanding. That is the giant head of life. That is the breath of life is demanding. Breath of life. Nature's dissipated cry. Mountain secrecy the soul. They are dwelling. There are powers, there are beauties, there are joys hidden in the soul, but they are living on the top of the mountain, not accessible to us, you see. And the miracle of the never-dying fire. This is the Agni which cannot be extinguished. There is no fire extinguisher for that. It burns constantly, immortal Agni. Agni, who is the immortal in the mortal. He accepts mortality, but he remains immortal. He cannot be quenched, cannot be subdued. And the miracle of the never-dying fire, he spoke to some first inexpressible ecstasy hidden in the creative beat of life. Out of the nether unseen deeps it tore its lure and magic of disordered bliss. Into earth light poured its maze of tangled charm, and the heady draught of nature's primitive joy, and a fire and mystery of forbidden delight drawn from the world libido's bottomless well, and the honey-sweet poison wine of lust and death, but dreamed the vintage of glory of life's God. So the extreme opposite to life, she is accepting this life for the glory of life's gods. That is what she wants, life's God. And felt a celestial rapture, golden stain. So even if it is extreme situation down below, she accepts that also with joy. There is joy everywhere for life. Poison, yes, it has its own joy. Honey, yes, it has its own sweetness. She accepts every kind of a rasa, of experience. She would like to experience everything like that, you see. She is not afraid of it. The cycles of the infinity of desire and the mystic that made an unrealized world wider than the known and closer than the unknown, in which hunt forever the hounds of mind and life, tempted a deep, dissatisfied urge within, to long for the unfulfilled and ever found, and make this life upon the limiting earth a climb towards summits, vanishing in the void, a search for the glory of the impossible. That is the whole object of this life. Search the glory of the impossible everywhere. She is not afraid of inconscience, of ignorance, of death, or suffering. She is not afraid of the high grandeurs of heaven and all that. She is embracing every possibility of existence. A dream of that which never has been known. It grasps at that which never has been won. So that is the spirit of life, adventure. She will go to extremes. In fact, that is what a brave person will do. He is not afraid of consequences. She is not afraid of, she does not believe in our phrase, look before you leap. She doesn't care about that. Look before you leap. She will leap. She will face all the consequences. There is nothing. She will face all the consequences. There is no question of look before the leap. She is not cautious. She is not conservative. She is not calculating her gains by doing this or doing that. You see. It dreamed of that which never has been known. It grasped at that which never has been won. It chased into an Elysian memory. So all the heavenly joy after life, she is chasing all that Elysian memory. The charm that flee from the heart's soon lost her delight. It dared the foe that slays. See, it dared the foe that slays. She sees an enemy. Want to kill me? Yes, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Let me enjoy that. See. See. The joy that hurt the image shape of unaccomplished thing and the summons to Circean transmuting dance. So she is ready to enter into this witch's island and enjoy what she has to offer. Enjoy what she, her magic. She wants to see that. And passion's tendency for the courts of love and the wild beasts ramp and roam with beauty and life. That is the passion of life. Every situation she would like to enjoy. There is nothing like good or bad. And therefore what happened then? It brought its cry and surge of opposite powers. Its moments of the touch of luminous flame, its flame ascensions and sky-pitched vast attempt, its fiery towers or dream built on the wind, towers built on winds. On the wind, is sinking towards the darkness and the abyss. Its honey of tenderness, its sharp wine of hate, its changes of sun and cloud, of laughter and tears, its bottomless danger pits and swallowing gulf, its fear and joy and ecstasy and despair. So he is describing all the opposite powers. All the opposite powers. It brought its cry and surge of opposite. So these are the examples of opposite powers. Its fear and joy, its occult wizardries, its simple line, and great communions and uplifting mood, its faith in heaven, its intercourse with hell. So these are the opposite powers, heaven and hell. She is there to experience all that thing. She is not worried about consequences. These powers were not blunt with the dead weight of earth. They gave ambrosious taste and poison's sting. So, because they are opposite. But she wants to enjoy both. What is the good for good? What is the evil for evil? She wants to enjoy, experience that thing. There was an Aja in the gaze of life that saw heaven blue in the grey air of night. Now that is the beauty of it. Why does she want to see all that? Because she sees joy, joy, joy everywhere in the expression of life. What is lifeless in matter, she is giving joy to that. That is her gain. And therefore, although the whole thing looks like a dark night, in the dark night, she is dreaming the presence of beautiful heaven. Blue heaven in the grey air of night. She is hoping that even here, that heaven can be present. The impulses Godward soared on passion's wing. The impulses Godward soared on passion's wing. So she is really ready to climb up, sky above sky, fly. Mind's quick-paced thoughts floated from their high necks. A glowing splendor as of an irised mane, colorful, the mane is colorful mane. A parure of pure intuition's light. What a beautiful phrase. A parure of pure intuition's light. Parure. Parure means all the matching jewelry. Jewelry. Your earring, your necklace, your bracelet, all these things should be of matching type. They should match each other. If this is blue, this is blue, this is blue, this is blue, this is ruby, 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 like that. They should match each other. It cannot be incoherent, you see. Yeah, you match your jewelry. Yeah. So Shaibandu's observation is so detailed, you see, about things. So detailed about everything. You see a woman, she will wear a certain dress, certain jewelry, even her umbrella, her parasol, or her footwear, everything will be matching, you see. It will be matching. A parure of pure intuition's light, his plain could gallop, they could imitate. Mind's voices mimicked inspiration's stress, his ecstacy of infallibility, his speed and lightning heavenly of the gods. So that is what they can, mind's thoughts, they can imitate inspiration of intuition, can have even the quality of the lightning of heaven leap of the gods, you see. This is what she can give life, you see. Actually, I mean, if you take a philosopher or an abstract man, mathematician, he has no life impulse in him, then it becomes very dry. It's very dry, you see. It doesn't have a force also to achieve what that thought, that abstract imagination or philosophy should bring out. You may talk a lot of philosophy, but to bring into life, you need life's force. That is required. Speed and lightning leap of the gods. Agents, not masters, they serve life's desires. That is what happens, you see. Toiling forever the snare of time. Their bodies born out of some nihil's womb, ensnare the spirit in the moment's dreams. So that is what you get trapped. You get ensnared. In the moment's dream, yes, I want to become a big philosopher. I want to become this, back then. You get ensnared. Then perish, vomiting the mortal soul. You vomit out your This is ultra modern, you see. out of matter's belly into the sink of naught. So this is the greatest danger. Yet some uncaught, unseen, can verily pass, verily carefully, cautiously, carrying to image in the silent, in the sheltered heart, carrying to image in the sheltered heart. The truth is not there, but the image is there of truth. You are having something within your heart, you are sincere, I am looking for something, that is the image of truth. And that image, that idea, that conviction, as long as it is solid, burning, forceful, it will save you. Carrying to image, so this is the Murti, image, Godhead Murti. You are carrying that thing with you, and then perhaps you can see that. It is equivalent to the Savior name, what we see earlier. See. Plug knowledge out of errors, screening grief, break, pass through the blind walls of little self, then travel on to reach a greater life. So he is giving you hope. Yes, there is the valley of wandering gleam, there is the intermediate zone, but those some who carry the image of truth in them, the goddess of truth in your soul, if you are true to her, sincere to her, then there is hope. There is shelter then. Then travel on to reach a greater life. All this train passed her and seemed to her vision sight. Her stands for, of course, Savitri. So Savitri is seeing the entire panorama of the giant head of life. All the same strain past her and seemed to her vision's sight, as if around a high and voiceless isle, a clamor of waters from far unknown hill swallowed its narrow bank and crowding wave and made a hungry world of white, wild foam. So this is the Homeric simile. Savitri is there, rock is there, a person is there, and the sea surrounding that rock and holding it. Around a high and voiceless isle, a clamor of water. Water is dashing against this. From unknown hill, swallowed its narrow bank, its crowding wave, and made a hungry world of the white, wild foam, hastening a dragon with a million feet. So you can see this kind of a dragon with a million feet. His foam and cry, so that whole sea itself like a dragon pressing with a million feet. A drunken giant sudden, tossing a mane of darkness into God's sky. It kept receding into a distant road. So it is rushing on Savitri, but because of that image of truth which is there in her soul, the dragon goes back. His foam and cry, a drunken giant then, tossing a mane of darkness into God's sky, it kept receding into a distant roar, goes back to sea. Then smiled again, a large and tranquil air. He says again, earlier she was seeing that experience where the Savior name brought her tranquility and peace, calm peace. Now it is this image of truth in her soul which is protecting her. Then smiled again, a large and tranquil air. Naturally, blue heaven, green earth, partners of beauty's reign, lived as of old companions in happiness, and in the world's heart loved the joy of life. So he gives you immediately a very consoling, happy picture also, see. When that image of truth is there in you, you are absolutely safe.
This is the sunlit path, no?
Very beautiful.
The sunlit path?
This is not exactly sunlit path.
Okay.
Sunlit path will open when the psychic comes out. Really. Yeah. Then smiled again. This is the image of truth. then smiled again. Blue heaven, see this is a beautiful line poetically. Blue heaven, green earth, partners of beauty's reign. Now you can scan it like this, blue heaven. See, I can very easily say that heaven is a monosyllabic here. One is not heaven, blue heaven, green earth, partners of beauty's reign. In other words, this becomes a spondy. Otherwise, it is long, short. Blue heaven. The first foot is either a spondy. I would prefer to call it a spondy. Heaven as a monosyllabic here because of the rhythm, the force with which the line is made. Blue heaven and green earth, partners of beauty's reign. You don't really give any stress, you don't even utter the word N. Heaven, that's all. And part is practically silent, subdued. Otherwise, it is what is called a bakic. Long, short, it's called a bakic. Green earth is a spondy. Partners, trochee. A beauty's reign. I am. Blue heaven, green earth, partner. So in other words, if you really have this thing as a spondy, you can see you have consecutively 5 strong words, all stressed, completely accented. Blue heaven, green earth, partner. Which is an unusual combination of so many words having full stress on them. So poetically, this is a sort of an exceptional line, you see. Blue heaven, green earth, partners of life. See here, partners. You have to say partner as a 2-syllabic word, but heaven can be monosyllabic. Blue heaven, green earth, partners of beauty's reign, lived as of old, companions in happiness, and in the world's heart laughed the joy of life, because the truth's image is there within your heart. All now was still, the soil shone dry and pure. So that clamor, all that thing has gone. So the giant head of life which was staring at her, it has become calm. Through it all moved not, plunged not in vain waves. Out of the vastness of the silent self, life's clamor fled. The giant head of life, her spirit was mute and free, her Savitri. Life's clamor fled, her spirit was mute and free. Out of the vastness of the silent self, life's clamor fled, her spirit was mute and free. Well, next time Savitri is going to meet, is going to enter into brilliant, ordered space. She is now going through regions and regions, giant head of life. We have seen that. Huh?
Is this for everybody the same, that you have that sort of sequence?
If you want to search your soul, you have to go through all that.
Yeah, but I wanted to know if it's, okay, you have to go through all of it.
Yes.
In that sequence, or is it different?
Well, it may depend upon the individual, how. See, it is very likely that you have already gone through some of those parts earlier, so you need not necessarily go this time.
Okay, once you have something outgrown, you don't need to go back.
See, you have to capture one by one. You have to experience all that and move forward. See, basically, once you have got the essential sincerity in you, then you are safe. But otherwise, you get caught. As I told you, if you want to do something for some ambition, you are caught and dragged down.
But then you just have to repeat it until you understand this is not it, and you go out of it and continue.
So if something opens out, you have to overcome that. You have to clear it up. You have to clear it up. See, a politician or a robber or anybody, criminal, see, you have to work it out. You can't help it. You can't help it.
But if something is worked out, then you just pass.
Then you may, next time you may go through that, but that thing already have traversed, so you can move faster further down.
Mm-hmm. But then each life, do you have to go again?
Now then you'll come to mind, the inner mind, its own difficulties, its own problems.
Yeah, but what I mean is, now let's say we have different lives. In this life, certain things get worked out. The next life, you take.
So what you have gained in this life, becomes the property of your psychic being, and that becomes your treasure, which is carried forward from life to life. So you don't have to repeat. You can master that thing quickly and move forward.
So I want to know, you don't have to go each
No.
time.
What we call in the Indian terminology, punya. So that is your punya. What becomes a part of your psychic being? That's the merit. That's the punya. And that punya you carry from life to life.
You cannot lose that.
It's there, already there. You have already experienced that part. That is how you grow. That is why you need many lives.
But can I have another? Sorry, the psychic being doesn't require that you are totally pure, that you have, for example, you're done with the ego, you are done with all these things. It doesn't require that you are having already the perfect self. You can already go into the psychic or happy realization without having been taken to the end, isn't it? And then you continue with that psychic life.
See, that psychic being grows means what? Psychic being grows means it becomes more and more rich in the divine merit, in the working of nature around it. It becomes master of the mind, or the vital, or the physical. It controls more and more of the nature of it. That is what the psychic being grows. The psychic flame is kindled and it grows. Means what? It spreads into all the dimensions of nature. It has to. That is the purpose. That is why it is here. Psychic basically is the alchemizing agent to transform the base into the noble. Into the noble. That is the growth. The base of nature has to become the noble of nature. That is the role of the psychic being, alchemizing agent. And that is what would really mean by evolution. We are making nature now more and more open to the higher powers of the spirit. The spirit does not act directly on nature. Spirit does not act directly on nature. It is through the agency of psychic it acts and works through it, through the psychic. That is why the psychic is here. In fact, that is the purpose of the psychic here. If the psychic being were not there, then nature would not have, spirit would not have been able to handle nature. That is the logic, that is the mechanism. The divine is present in us in the form of a little spark, and it is that spark which grows and grows and grows and becomes a big flame. And it is that actually which has built up our personality. When the psychic being has sufficiently grown, it developed within us all the faculties that we have become man, human beings. All our organs of cognition have been developed within us first, and then all these things came. The subliminal, what is it called? The subliminal, the occult ear, the occult eye, the occult nose, they are first built within us in the inner world, around the psychic, by the subliminal, in the subliminal. by the psychic. And when they are sufficiently grown, they manifest in the physical nature. It is exactly the, perhaps I will not say exactly, possibly it is in that way the higher being also will be formed within us. The intermediate race, the Srom, what mother calls. How will he come? It is psychic operating in the subliminal which will create the necessary organs of operation, and then they will materialize. They will become physical ear, physical eye, physical nose, whatever you want to call them. And then you have got the Srom. Srom does not just come and descend like that. He cannot push himself away. You see, it has to be prepared. It has to be sort of got ready by the psychic being in the subliminal. You see, when that is formed, then you are kind of ready to go to the next step. The animal became man, man will become Superman or Srom through that process of formation of those organs. So we have got 7 centers of activity in us, chakras, force. Mother says in the supramental being there are 12. How are these 12 going to be formed? Within subliminal. And then they will become material organs of activity here. I think that is the mechanism by which things will happen. At least it is good to guess that way. Yeah, it's a long process, and this is exactly what I done. I mean, the necessary process has been laid out, has been done. Mother says, my supramental body is ready. Divine body is ready. It has to be now prepared within. It is the divine Agni within us, psychic being. It is Agni which will produce the divine body within us. Agni is the form maker. He is a form maker, divine. And when that form is ready, prepared in that way, with all those faculties, with all those organs, with all those qualities, then you have the supramental being in the physical. That is the transformation. That is the transformation. So actually it's not transformation when this becomes this. It's not that kind of a thing. It is a creation of a new dimension of personality within us through the psychic being. That is the importance of the psychic being. Yeah. See, this is a very difficult subject, but we can keep on talking in our own pleasing manners, you see. But that is, in fact, Mother says, no, when she saw Rijuta serving her on 1st July 1970 in a room, she says, the moment I looked at her, the American disciple of the Mother, the moment I looked at her, I knew immediately it is the psychic being which will materialize. Psychic being which will materialize. And when psychic being materializes, it means that it gives immortality to the physical, because the psychic is immortal. Psychic is immortal. It gives immortality to the physical. So it is the psychic which will materialize. Materialize in what way? Perhaps in this manner. Mother has not elaborated. She was not asked also. So well, that is our misfortune. She would have perhaps explained that thing. But maybe we can guess. We can talk about it at least. You see.